Alright guys, here we got another curve find. This one's a Windmere 16-inch oscillating pedestal fan model C-162. Um, it's a fan that it's surprisingly in very good condition. Um, Usually when I find these fans, they're very brittle, especially the blades. I'm not sure what type of material Windmere uses, but it's the type of material that will quickly turn into powder once the sunlight hits. But this one is in surprisingly good condition. There is nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Um, Apparently, the sun has never hit the fan, and at neither point of its life. Um, it's very elegant, especially the badge. Has that retro type logo right there. Let me take this up and take a closer look at it. It really shines right there. It's got the older style badge. These badges were from, I would guess, early 90s, but they still use it up until, I would guess, 99. Um, this is during this time that these fans started really starting being very cheap, but they still manufacture very sturdy bases at this time. Uses quite thick poles. Here is the informations right here. So this fan was apparently manufactured in December of 97, so it was sold around summer of 98. And it still works up to this day. And surprisingly, the bearings are free too. I was not even thinking of oiling it or opening the motor cover, but I just kind of had to just to put some little bit and clean the inside, and it was not dirty either. Only thing was missing was the screw, which I did add for the head to stay in place. It's got the rotary switch, which starts from low, and then the highest speed is the last setting. The oscillator still works, surprisingly. Nothing is brittle. Very top shape. And it was surprisingly very clean, and I'm not sure how people tend to throw good stuff away like that. This was about to go to recycling the following morning. This is a very tall fan for 97 as well. This is not full height, and that is like, this is the full height. That's a very tall fan. Just looking at it. But one thing I know about these is that for some reason, Cool Horn, they tend to use very steep pitch blades, but the motors, they're very underpowered. Um, but it has been the case when it comes to these types of models. It hasn't been the case with their previous versions for an odd reason, but they're still very powerful and they're very quiet. Oh, slow. Let me demonstrate. So let me put this down a bit low. So that's one drawback. These stand fans apparently tend to, if you do one slight bit push, they tend to slide down. The tighten doesn't work like that properly. That's the one drawback about these stand fans. It has been a problem, but otherwise these are very well built fans. So let's start out on the low. Starts out very nice and slow, and I can already feel a breeze. Let me bring in a towel to show you how much air this thing is moving. So here I got the towel now, so let's see the air performance. Just look at that. This thing's already blowing a breeze, and this is quite a very slow fan, and that's because of the heavy blades that it has. This is actually good. It doesn't need to have a very speedy low speed just to blow air. This thing is actually fine the way it is. This is actually a very perfect fan for quiet rooms. This thing is not distracting. It's just making what it's meant to do. Let's move up to the medium. So the medium here is actually a low speed on average fans. It's still very quiet. The performance is very impressive. You could actually, like, one could have a conversation without this thing just making noise over the conversation. And one could be on a phone call. This thing would not distract, not one bit. Oh, wow, that's immensely powerful. This is just medium. This is only medium. Look how much air it's blowing. I would say it performs better compared to most last skills at this rate, and that's because of the cool horn ring that thought out the aerodynamics properly and how they should manage to make a good performing quiet fan. That is insane. Now let's go to full power. I would say the airflow is equivalent to that of the mid-90s Vascos. But I would guess had it had a more matching motor, this thing would definitely be up on the same level as the Lasco Galaxies from the early 90s or the 80s when they still had acrylic blades. It's very good performance right there. Surprisingly, the oscillator works fine. Most of these oscillators, they tend to be screwed up already. And the blade is actually a very good balance. There's nothing wrong with this. So as long as these things are kept away from the sunlight or from heat, these things will not experience like severe amounts of deterioration, but you still might have to be careful because the deterioration layers could actually go deep. This is very impressive. I'm not sure how these people thought in throwing this thing away when it works perfectly fine. All it needed was a bit of oil, I guess, because it did not go this fast. You can see that at the low speed, it's very quiet, and it's because of the amount of speed this thing is going. And you could just tell by how slow the oscillator is going. So I guess if I were to remove that scuff marks on the badge, this thing will definitely be in very top shape. That is very impressive. The blade hub does not seem to be unstable either. Alright, it's now time to shut it off. Oops. That was a very quite good long spin down. Shows the health of those bearings. Alright, so there you have it. That's the 1997 Windmere 16-inch pedestal fan model C-162. And if you liked the video, please like and share. Comment down below and tell me what you think. And until next time, thanks for watching.